Chapter 2, Force and Laws of Motion. Now we are going to start second lesson, Force and Laws of Motion. In the previous chapter we described the motion of an object along a straight line in terms of its displacement, velocity and acceleration. We saw that such a motion can be uniform or non-uniform. We have not yet discovered what causes the motion. Why does the speed change with time? Do all motions require a cause? If so, if there is any reason, then what is the nature of this cause? But still, now we have discussed a lot about motions, the physical quantities, etc. In this chapter, we shall make an attempt to quench all such curiosities. These questions will be the basis of this chapter. So, these questions are yet to be answered by us. We will discuss these questions in detail in this chapter, and this chapter is named as Force and Laws of Motion. For many centuries, the problem of motion and its causes had puzzled scientists and philosophers. Now let us answer these questions based on our daily life experiences. For example, a ball on the ground, when given a small hit, does not move forever. If we want to move that ball, we have to kick, and otherwise it will not move. It will be at rest. Such observations suggest that rest is the natural state of an object. If we want to move football again, we need to kick it again and again. This remained the belief until Galileo Galilei and Isaac Newton developed an entirely different approach to understand motion. In our everyday life, we observe that some effort is required to put a stationary object into motion or to stop moving object. We ordinarily experience this as a muscular effort and say that we must push or hit or pull on an object to change its state of motion. The concept of force is based on this push, hit or pull. Let us now ponder about a force. What is it? In fact, no one has seen, tasted or felt a force. However, we always see or feel the effect of a force. It can only be explained by describing that happens when a force is applied to an object. Pushing, hitting and pulling of objects are always of bringing objects in motion. For all these events indicates that the motion of an object requires an external energy. That is, they move because we make a force act on them. From your studies in earlier classes, you are also familiar with the fact that a force can be used to change the magnitude of velocity of an object. That is, to make the object move faster or slower, or to change its direction of motion. We also know that a force can change the shape and size of the objects. Next one, effects of force. A force is known by the effects it produces on our surrounding. A force mainly produces the following effects. Force can cause motion. Force can stop motion. Force can change the direction of motion. Force can change the speed of a moving object. Force can change shape and size of an object. From all these observations, we can now define force as follows. Force is a push or pull acting on an object which tends to change or change the state of rest or uniform motion or the direction of motion or size and shape of the object. We will now discuss various types of forces. Balanced force and unbalanced force. Figure shows a wooden box on a horizontal table. Two strings X and Y are tied to two opposite faces of the blocks as shown. If we apply a force by pulling the string X, the block begins to move to the right. Similarly, we pull the string Y, the block moves to the left. But if the block is pulled from both the sides with equal forces, the block will not move. Such forces are called balanced forces and do not change the state of rest or of motion of an object. Consider another example of tug of war. Two parties pull the opposite ends of the rope. Let us party 1 apply a force F1 on the rope and party 2 apply a force F2 on the rope. If equal forces F1 and F2 are applied simultaneously on the rope, then the rope will not move to the either side. It will remain in the state of rest because the two equal forces balance each other. Such forces are called balanced force. As the rope remains practically still and does not move, so balanced forces do not produce any acceleration. Balanced force is defined by when a number of forces acting simultaneously on an object do not bring about any change in its state of rest or uniform motion along a straight line, then these forces are said to be balanced forces. Some more examples of balanced forces. Men fail to push a car having starting trouble along a rough surface. A rubber balloon pressed by applying two equal and opposite forces. Third one, a woman carrying a bag of vegetables in her hand. Now let us consider a situation in which two opposite forces of different magnitudes pull the block. In this case, the block would begin to move in the direction of greater force. Thus, two forces are not balanced. The unbalanced force acts in the direction of the block's moves. This suggests that an unbalanced force acting on an object brings it in motion. Consider an example of tug of war. If forces F1 and F2 are unequal and applied simultaneously on the rope, then the rope will start moving and will not remain in the state of rest. If force F1 is greater than force F2, the rope will move towards left. If force F2 is greater than the force F1, the rope will move towards right. In this case, this imbalance of forces bring about a change in the state of the body. These forces are called unbalanced forces. Unbalanced forces not only change the speed of a moving object but can also change the direction of motion of the object. Unbalanced force is defined by when a number of forces acting simultaneously on an object bring about a change in its state of rest or of uniform motion or direction, then these forces are said to be unbalanced forces. What happens when some children try to push a box on rough floor? If they push the box with a small force, the box does not move because of friction acting in the direction opposite to the push. This friction force arises between two surfaces in contact. In this case, between the bottom of the box and floor's rough surface. It balances the pushing force and therefore the box does not move. The children push the box harder but the box still does not move. This is because the friction force still balances the pushing force. If the children push the box harder, still the pushing force becomes bigger than the friction force. There is an unbalanced force, so the box starts moving. What happens when we ride a bicycle? When we stop pedaling, the bicycle begins to slow down. This is again because the friction forces acting opposite to the direction of motion. In order to keep the bicycle moving, we have to start pedaling again. It thus appears that an object maintains its motion under the continuous application of an unbalanced force. However, it is quite incorrect. An object moves with a uniform velocity when the forces, pushing forces and frictional force acting on the object are balanced and there is no net external force on it. If an unbalanced force is applied on the object, there will be a change either in its speed or in the direction of its motion. Thus, to accelerate the motion of an object, an unbalanced force is required, and the change in its speed or in the direction of motion would continue as long as this unbalanced force is applied. However, if this force is removed completely, the object would continue to move with the velocity it has acquired till then.